Anger a destroyer or a great teacher? There is a fire inside each of us. Sometimes it warms the soul. Sometimes it burns everything around us. Anger is the same way. It can be a destructive force or a great teacher that helps us understand ourselves. Have you ever felt anger rising like a raging storm, sweeping you away and making you lose control? It's like a massive wave crashing down, making you say things you shouldn't, hurting the people you love the most. But did you know that controlling anger doesn't mean suppressing it? In reality, it's the art of transforming negative energy into something positive, turning destruction into growth. Here are 5 keys to help you harness anger and turn it into a force for personal transformation. 1. Let go of your ego. You don't always have to be right. Think about the last argument you had. How hard did you fight to defend your point of view? Did your heart race, your fists clench, and your mind fixate on winning? That's your ego speaking. Now, imagine looking at your opinions as a book placed on a table instead of a part of yourself. If someone disagrees, they're criticizing the book, not your identity. When you detach from your need to be right, you open the door to understanding and growth. 2. Don't take everything personally. Others don't control your emotion. Have you ever been hurt by someone's harsh words? Of course you have. But think about this. When someone says something negative, is it really about you or is it about them? Words come from the speaker's mind, not yours. A hurting person will hurt others. Once you realize this, you stop letting other people's emotions dictate your happiness. 3. Learn to let go. Not every battle is worth fighting. Life doesn't always go our way. Plans fall apart, dreams fade, relationships break. When that happens, you have 2 choices: hold on and suffer, or let go and find peace. Letting go doesn't mean giving up. It means choosing not to let small things control you anymore. A lighter mind is a freer mind. 4. Listen to your body. Is your anger actually hunger, fatigue, or stress? Have you ever snapped at someone just because you were hungry? Or had a day where even the smallest comment irritated you? Pay attention to your body. Fatigue, stress, hunger, or even hot weather can affect your emotions. Don't let anger take over before you check in with yourself. 5. Learn to express what you're really feeling. Be honest with yourself. Instead of yelling, "I'm furious," try saying, "I feel hurt," or "I'm really anxious." It sounds simple, but you'll be surprised at how powerful this small change can be. When you're honest about your emotions, you don't just control your anger, you help others understand you better. Anger is not the enemy. It's a signal. It reminds you that something in your life needs attention. See it as an opportunity for growth, a chance to master your emotions instead of letting them control you. Have you ever experienced a moment where anger almost destroyed something important in your life? Share your story in the comments below. And if you want more content that helps you find inner peace, hit subscribe, because our journey to discovering the meaning of life is just beginning. Turn anger into a teacher, not a destroyer. Let go of your ego. You don't always have to be right. Anger is like wildfire. It spreads fast, fueled by the smallest spark of disagreement. But have you ever stopped to ask yourself, is this really about being right? Or is it about my ego needing to win? Think back to the last heated argument you had. Maybe it was with a friend, a partner, or even a stranger on the internet. Your heart pounded, your voice got louder, and your mind focused on proving your point. But in that moment, did you really listen? Or were you just waiting for your turn to speak, ready to fire back? Your ego is not your identity. One of the biggest mistakes we make is equating our opinions with our identity. We believe that if someone disagrees with us, they're attacking who we are, not just what we think. And that's where anger takes over. But here's a perspective shift that can change everything. Imagine your opinions as a book sitting on a table. If someone disagrees with that book, they're not rejecting you. They're just questioning the content. You can choose to read their perspective, discuss it, or even revise your book. But you don't have to defend it like your life depends on it. The cost of being right all the time. We live in a world where standing your ground is seen as strength. But what if real strength is knowing when to let go? Consider this. How many friendships have been lost over stubbornness? How many relationships have suffered because neither side wanted to back down? How many family gatherings have turned tense because someone just had to be right? Holding on to the need to be right doesn't just damage relationships, it drains your energy. The more you cling to an argument, the more anger builds up inside you, turning a 5-minute disagreement into a lasting grudge. Detachment brings freedom. Letting go of your ego doesn't mean you don't stand for anything. It simply means you choose peace over pride. Try this next time you feel anger rising in a disagreement. Pause. Take a deep breath. Step back mentally before reacting. Ask yourself, what's my goal here? Do you want connection or just to win? Detach from the argument. Instead of thinking, they're attacking me, remind yourself, they're just seeing things differently. Choose curiosity over combat. Instead of proving them wrong, ask, why do you feel that way? When you let go of ego, conversations become discussions instead of battles. Relationships become stronger instead of strained. And most importantly, you feel lighter, freer, and more in control of your emotions. Your journey to emotional mastery is not your enemy. It's a messenger. It tells you that something inside needs attention. But if you let your ego take the wheel, anger can drive you straight into conflict and regret. True wisdom is knowing that you don't always have to be right. True peace is understanding that your opinions don't define your worth. So the next time you find yourself in an argument, ask yourself, would I rather be right? Or would I rather be at peace? Let go. Step back and watch how much lighter your life feels. Don't take everything personally. Others don't control your emotion. How many times have you let a single comment ruin your entire day? Maybe it was a sarcastic remark from a coworker, a dismissive look from a friend, or a stranger's rude comment online. In that split second, something inside you tensed up. Anger bubbled to the surface. Your mind raced with comebacks. But here's the truth. It was never about you in the first place. The trap, taking things personally. We live in a world where words fly at us constantly through social media, conversations, and even unspoken gestures. And often, we interpret them as direct attacks on our worth. Someone criticizes your work, you must not be good enough. A friend doesn't text back, they must be mad at you. A stranger cuts you off in traffic, they must think they're better than you. But what if I told you that 99% of the time, these things have nothing to do with you? People speak from their own reality, their own struggles, and their own emotions. A coworker's passive-aggressive comment might stem from their own stress. A friend's silence could be due to their own battles. The person who lashed out at you in traffic might just be having the worst day of their life. The moment you realize that people's actions are not personal attacks, but reflections of their own world, you set yourself free. Your happiness is in your hands. Let's be real, when someone says something negative, it stings. But do they really have the power to control your emotions? Only if you let them. Think of it this way. If a stranger on the street yelled at you for no reason, would you take it personally? Probably not. You'd assume they were having a bad day, maybe even struggling with something much bigger than you. So why do we let the words of acquaintances, co-workers, or even online strangers shake our self-worth? The next time someone says something that upsets you, ask yourself, does this define who I am? Is this really about me, or is it about them? Do I want to give this person control over my emotions? When you shift your mindset from reaction to reflection, you take back control. The power of letting go. Anger, resentment, and frustration often come from holding on to words and actions that were never meant to be personal. Imagine carrying a backpack filled with every rude comment, every snide remark, every misunderstanding you've ever encountered. How heavy would that feel? Now, imagine letting it all go. When you stop taking things personally, life becomes lighter. You start to see that most negativity is just noise. You stop engaging in pointless arguments. You stop needing validation from people who don't truly know you. Rewrite your story. At the end of the day, you can't control what people say or do, but you can control your reaction. You can choose peace over pride, understanding over resentment. So, the next time someone throws negativity your way, take a deep breath. Pause. Instead of reacting with anger, respond with awareness. And remind yourself, their words are about them, not me. Have you ever let someone's words affect you more than they should have? Share your thoughts in the comments. And if you're on a journey to emotional mastery and self-discovery, hit subscribe. Because finding inner peace is the most powerful transformation of all. Learn to let go. Not every battle is worth fighting. Have you ever held onto something so tightly that it exhausted you physically, mentally, emotionally? Maybe it was an argument that replayed in your mind for days. Maybe it was resentment towards someone who wronged you. Or maybe it was disappointment over something that didn't go as planned. Holding on feels natural because we're wired to fight for what we believe in. We convince ourselves that if we just try harder, push more, or dwell longer, things will change. But here's the truth. Some battles are simply not worth fighting. The weight of holding on. Imagine carrying a 50-pound backpack full of every past grudge, every regret, every disappointment. With every step, the weight slows you down. You become exhausted, but you refuse to put it down because, in some way, it feels like letting go means losing. But what if putting it down doesn't mean you've lost? What if it means you've chosen peace over pain? Holding on to anger, resentment, or frustration doesn't punish the other person, it punishes you. It drains your energy, clouds your mind, and steals your joy. Letting go isn't about giving up, it's about setting yourself free. Not everything needs a response. In life, there will always be people who push your buttons, situations that feel unfair, and moments that test your patience. But ask yourself, do I need to react to everything? Someone cuts you off in traffic. Do you let it ruin your morning? A coworker makes a passive-aggressive comment? Do you let it eat at you for hours? A friend disappoints you. Do do you replay the moment in your head endlessly? Not every action requires a reaction. Not every fight is worth your energy. The more you resist engaging in negativity, the more control you have over your peace of mind. The power of acceptance. One of the hardest things to accept is that some things are simply out of our control. People will act how they choose to act. Situations won't always turn out the way we want. But we have control over one thing, our response. Letting go means accepting that you can't change the past, choosing inner peace over external chaos, freeing yourself from the cycle of overthinking and resentment. How to start letting go. Pause before reacting. When something upsets you, take a deep breath. Ask yourself, will this matter in a week, a month, a year? If the answer is no, let it go. Shift your perspective. Instead of seeing challenges as punishments, see them as lessons. Every setback, every disappointment, every conflict is an opportunity for growth. Stop seeking closure from others. Not everyone will apologize. Not everyone will understand your pain. But waiting for closure from someone else keeps you trapped. Instead, give yourself the closure you need. Practice self-compassion. Letting go is a process. You won't master it overnight. Be patient with yourself as you unlearn old patterns and embrace new habits. Peace begins when you let go. At the end of the day, life is too short to carry unnecessary burdens. You have the power to decide what deserves your energy. Some battles are worth fighting, like fighting for your dreams, your values, your well-being. But others, they're just distractions from the bigger picture. What's something you've held on to for too long? How did it feel when you finally let go? Share your experience in the comments. And if you're on a journey of emotional growth, self-discovery, and inner peace, hit subscribe. Because learning to let go is just the beginning of something greater. Listen to your body. Is your anger really about hunger, fatigue, or stress? Have you ever felt irritated, snapped at someone, or overreacted only to realize later that you were just hungry, exhausted, or overwhelmed? We like to believe that anger always has a clear reason. Someone wronged us, something unfair happened, or we were pushed too far. But the truth is, anger is often a symptom, not the root cause. Sometimes, it's not the situation making us angry. It's our body screaming for attention. The hidden triggers of anger. Think about the last time you were stuck in traffic after a long day. The frustration built up, and every red light felt personal. But was it really the slow-moving cars that made you angry? Or was it the fact that you were drained, hungry, and just needed a break? Your body affects your emotions more than you realize. The next time you feel anger rising, ask yourself, am I hungry? When blood sugar drops, your patience disappears. Your brain needs fuel to regulate emotions, and without it, small problems feel huge. That's why the term hangry exists. It's real. Am I exhausted? Sleep deprivation lowers impulse control. A well-rested mind can pause, reflect, and respond thoughtfully. A tired mind, it snaps, overreacts, and regrets it later. Am I stressed? When stress levels rise, your nervous system goes into fight or flight mode. This means your body is primed for action, even if there's no real threat. That's why tiny inconveniences feel like major problems when you're overwhelmed. Why awareness changes everything when we don't pay attention to our body's signals. we misplace our emotions. Instead of recognizing, I'm just hungry, we think this person is being annoying. Instead of realizing I need rest, we assume everything is going wrong. But once you become aware of the connection between your physical state and emotional reactions, you gain power over your responses. How to prevent unnecessary anger. Check in with yourself. When you feel irritated, pause and do a quick body scan. Ask, am I hungry, tired, stressed? Sometimes a simple snack or a short break is all you need to reset. Keep your body fueled. Don't wait until you're starving to eat. Keep healthy snacks nearby, something with protein and good carbs to stabilize your energy. Hydration matters too. Dehydration can trigger mood swings. Prioritize sleep. Think of sleep as mental fuel. If you wouldn't drive a car with an empty gas tank, why run on no sleep? Aim for 7-9 hours per night. Your emotional control depends on it. Manage stress proactively. You can't avoid stress, but you can prepare for it. Regular exercise, meditation, and even just taking deep breaths help regulate your nervous system before stress turns into anger. Communicate your needs. If you're feeling irritable because you're exhausted or hungry, say it out loud. For example, I'd love to talk about this, but I need a meal first. Expressing what's really going on prevents unnecessary conflict. The key to emotional mastery isn't always about what's happening around you. It's often about what's happening inside you. When you listen to your body, you take back control. Instead of reacting impulsively, you learn to pause, reflect, and respond in a way that aligns with your true intentions. So next time frustration starts bubbling up, don't jump to conclusions. Check in with yourself first. Your body might be asking for something simple: food, rest, or just a moment to breathe. Have you ever realized your anger was actually just hunger or exhaustion? Share your experience in the comments. And if you're on a journey to mastering your emotions, hit subscribe, because emotional awareness is the foundation of a meaningful life. Learn to express what you're really feeling. Be honest with yourself. Have you ever found yourself snapping at someone, raising your voice, or shutting down completely, only to later realize your anger wasn't really about them? Maybe you lashed out at a loved one after a stressful day at work. Or maybe a small disagreement escalated because, deep down, you were feeling hurt, anxious, or overwhelmed. Anger is like a mask. It often hides deeper emotions underneath. But when you learn to express what you're really feeling, you not only gain control over your anger, but also strengthen your relationships, improve your mental health, and find inner peace. The truth behind anger. Most of the time, anger isn't the primary emotion. It's a reaction to something deeper. Think about it. When someone ignores your text, do you feel angry, or are you really feeling rejected or unimportant? When a coworker takes credit for your work, are you mad, or do you feel unappreciated and disrespected? When your partner forgets something important, are you furious, or are you actually hurt because you feel like they don't care? Anger is often the surface emotion, but underneath it, there's usually fear, sadness, disappointment, or insecurity. The problem is, if we only express anger, people respond to that, not to what's really going on inside us. And that's how misunderstandings, resentment, and broken relationships happen. Why we struggle to express our emotions. Many of us weren't taught how to communicate our feelings openly. In American culture, especially for men, anger is often seen as the only acceptable emotion, while sadness, fear, or vulnerability are mistaken for weakness. But in reality, true strength lies in emotional honesty. The more we suppress emotions, the more they build up until they explode in moments of rage, frustration, or emotional shutdown. How to express your true emotions instead of just anger. If you want to gain emotional control and improve your relationships, start by expressing what's actually going on inside. Here's how. Pause before reacting. When you feel anger rising, take a deep breath and ask yourself, what am I really feeling? If you need time, say, I'm feeling upset right now. Let me process this before we continue. Use I feel statements. Instead of saying, you never listen to me, try, I feel unheard, and that's frustrating. Instead of, you're so inconsiderate. Say, I feel unappreciated when this happens. Be honest about your needs. If you're exhausted and irritable, say, I had a rough day, and I just need some space. If you're feeling anxious, admit it, I'm feeling overwhelmed, and I could use some support. Practice with small moments. You don't have to start with deep, emotional conversations. Try naming your emotions throughout the day, even to yourself. Instead of saying, ugh, today sucked, say, I'm frustrated because I felt rushed and overwhelmed. Give others the benefit of the doubt. Instead of assuming people are trying to upset you, consider that they might not realize how their actions affect you. Saying, I felt hurt when you said that, opens the door to understanding while you always do this. Closes it. Why this changes everything. When you start expressing your real emotions instead of just anger, something amazing happens. You feel lighter. Suppressed emotions weigh you down. Naming them releases their grip on you. Your relationships improve. People can respond to your true feelings rather than just reacting to your anger. You gain control. Instead of being a prisoner to your emotions, you become the master of them. At the end of the day, anger is a signal, not a solution. When you learn to listen to what it's really telling you, you unlock a whole new level of emotional intelligence and inner peace. Have you ever realized that your anger was actually covering up a deeper emotion? Share your thoughts in the comments. And if you're on a journey to emotional mastery, hit subscribe, because learning to express yourself honestly is the first step toward true freedom.